right. We haven't done this ever in 11 years, and this is absolutely ridiculous that we haven't done. We haven't talked about film financing and production and distribution, and that's what all of you guys do. I mean, where do you get your money? What do you do with your movie after you finish it? We all want to make a living at this business. Well, this guy happens to be a big-time VP at Millennium Films and New Image, and he has been in this business forever, right? And
basically.
According to your bio, and it goes back to 1943.
Not quite.
Yeah.
That's the first movie I saw.
Yeah, exactly. But we are very honored to have, thanks to Misha Tenenbaum introducing me to this man, Lonnie Ramati, who is going to talk about all this and hopefully make your lives a little bit easier. So please welcome to Laughsy Bug, Lonnie Ramati.
Thank you very much. A little background on me in about 3 minutes or less. I've been production business affairs for the financing, production, and distribution of feature films since 1981. I've worked on over 300 movies. You'll be happy to know, since a lot of you are filmmakers, that the range of the budgets has been from $500,000 to $80 million. So I've covered every kind of movie you can cover. I've done a movie called The Pink Chiquitas. I've done Rambo. I've done First Blood. I've done a movie called Spike Lee's first movie, She's Gotta Have It. So there are a whole bunch of movies that I've done. Kiss of the Spider Woman, where I did production legal and distribution agreements. And my background is how those films were funded, how they were distributed, and how you guys can make things work for you in this crazy business. There are a couple of things that I want to warn you about as filmmakers. Are most of you filmmakers in here primarily? Are there any actors in here? Okay. Are there any writers in here? A few writers, but most of you are production personnel, correct? Is that a fair statement? Or producers of sorts, right? Of some form or another. So this is going to be directed at producers, my comments. And the first question is, these days, how do you get a film funded? Well, the first thing you have to understand is, before you even get a film funded, you have to control the film. The principles of this industry for you are control. And then the other principle is control. He or she who controls the rights to a project that has value in it can make money on the project and get the film funded. If you do not control the rights, you will lose your project. So you need to own the script, buy the script, option the script, control the script. That's your first priority. Get control of the material that you want to make. Now, if you've written this script, that's great. But if you haven't written it, you better own it. And you better buy it fast and own it fast. And even then, after you own it, you're going to have to deal with the 3 levels of scum in the film industry. And I'm going to tell you the 3 levels of scum, and I want you to hold this to your heart and make it biblical for yourself. Every time you go to church or synagogue or wherever you go, Buddhist temple, you are to remember the 3 levels of scum. It's almost like a mantra. It will protect you in this industry. Level of scum number 1, the Michael Jordan of scum, the Barack Obama, the highest level of scum, the 5th element of scum is the agent. Right? The agent will suck the blood out of you and ask for a transfusion at the same time. They are the most satanic cult I've encountered in my searches across the universe for evil people, because I don't want to be around good people. They're boring. So if I want a really bad person, I want to talk to an agent. And I do. All day long, I talk to agents, and I can confirm, you know, they're not from God. They really do eat your bowels. They really do. I've experienced it. So your job when you're dealing with an agent, I always say, and I like to use kind of disgusting metaphors to warn you about people, because I believe in visualization because it's very memorable when you do it. So when you're with an agent, anytime you're in the presence of an agent, if you can just visualize vomit, you'll be in the right frame of mind to deal with that agent. You know, because like if you walk on the street and you encounter vomit, well, you don't want to touch it. You don't know where it's coming from. You don't trust it. It stinks. And that's an agent. That's an agent. So you want to treat agents, you want to think vomit. And when they come and tell you a story, right, you want to treat an agent like he's Bernie Madoff. He's trying to get you to do something for his benefit. You cannot believe anything they say. However, on the other hand, you have to deal with them. So they're a necessary evil. Because without Satan, where is God? He needs... So, I mean, really, God has not much to do without Satan. So you have to have them in your lives, and your approach to agents is very important because agents control things that are important to filmmakers. In addition to owning the rights, they control talent. Now, at the level you're at, if you're making a low-budget film, my first piece of advice to you is use people's money that are not in the film industry. Because what agents will do is the moment that they smell that you have an investor, they're going to try and take that investor from you for themselves. So your job is not only to control the material and option it or buy it and register it at the Writers Guild of America or the U.S. Copyright Office, but your job also is to prevent the evil satanic cult of agents from stealing your projects and stealing your money. Your money is the people that are investing in you. And I'm encouraging all of you on low-budget films, which most of you are dealing with, to find private investors. And I know it seems obvious, but it's not so obvious, because there's also a cult of the worship of Satan in the film industry, where they think that agents are God, which they're not. And they will go to agents and try and get them to fund these sorts of movies. But that's not the approach an independent filmmaker can make these days. Unless you're very well protected, which most of you are not. You have to, you must go out and get private funding on your own of some sort. Seed capital, relatives, dentists, doctors, people you care about, people who want their girlfriend in the movie. Anything that works to get you funding, you must try and avoid agents. Now, then, so what are agents good for? They're good for you after you have the funding and when you have a great script and an actor wants to be in the script. The second level of scum, by the way, is lawyers. Of course, who knows better than I? Lawyers are bad for you because what they will do is they'll promise you the world and only deliver very little, which is really bad. And now that agents and lawyers are taking commissions, they're like parasites. They're sucking money away from you. They only care about the money you make. They don't care about the project as much. So what you want to do with a lawyer is limit the lawyer. The lawyer's services should be two things. Number one, do the contracts. Number two, close the deal. Now, negotiating the deal is different from closing the deal. Your job as producers is to get the agent under control by not letting him meet your investor, controlling the material yourself, and then when you're dealing with a lawyer, don't let the lawyer do anything but service. He doesn't get to cast the movie, he doesn't get to produce the movie. His job is just to do contracts and protect you legally. Third level of scum, of course, is producers, I'm sorry to say. And the producers are levels of scum because what a lot of producers do in the film industry, and they're really scummy, but not quite as scummy as lawyers. Is there anything worse than a lawyer in life? It's really bad. Agents is the only thing. They're thankful for agents because that's what they say on the phone. At least I'm not an agent, you know. You know, it's their only hope. I say, you're a fucking lawyer. I say, yeah, I'm not an agent, yeah. But, you know, every day this happens. But with producers, I want to be very clear about this. What a lot of producers do is contribute very little to a motion picture. Okay, so again, you're dealing with forces that you have to defend yourself against. This is really important advice. Everyone thinks they can run to an agent or a lawyer or another producer and get something done. But what you're doing is you're trying to minimize their invasion of you and your project and to maximize what you can get out of them. Now, what do you get out of an agent? Talent. What do you get out of a lawyer's service? What do you get out of another producer? Relationships. Production and distribution relationships. That's what you're looking for from a producer. But they are scum. They will try and steal your project. They will try and control your project. They are control freaks. They try and control me every day. They're beating me up every day. They will beat you up and spit on you. And then they'll invite the agent over for dinner. It's very bad.
So don't, you've got to, it's a sad state of affairs, but you have to be protecting yourself against invasion of your property. Now, assuming you can get past those 3 levels, which you have to deal with, who do I like? I like managers. Managers are good people for you to have relationships with. Managers are entrees to talent for you. Managers will take the time, they will give you the time to get stuff to their talent, their clients that nobody else would do. An agent's job is to collect offers. That's what they want to do, collect offers. See how great I'm doing? Not only am I Satan, but I get you a lot of offers. Look at this offer, look at that offer, look at this offer. That's all they do, collect, collect, collect. Managers are about the career direction of their client. So managers will listen to you if you have a script much more readily than an agent will, and they'll actually let the talent read the script. So it's really amazing that way. So please remember that managers are important entree. Okay, let's talk about some numbers and some deals and stuff. How many of you are trying to do films that are under 500,000? Raise your hand. Okay, how many of you are doing films under 300,000? Okay, how many of you are doing films over 500,000? Okay, so every one of you is a very low budget filmmaker. A couple of questions. Where do I make the film? If I'm lucky enough to get the money and scramble it together, because frankly, it's a lot easier to get a couple of $100,000 together than it is $1 million. So I'm telling you now that all of you should be out there. You should make a list. Each one of the people in this room should have a list of every single person they know in their life and find out a way to get some money from some people to add up to 200,000 or more. And that list, you should have that list. You should be adding to that list and keeping track of that list. And as much as you laugh about this, take it from a guy who's done 300 films. That's the way you get people. Jerry Weintraub, there's a great documentary about Jerry Weintraub. He called Elvis's manager, Colonel, he called him for a year asking to do his tour. The guy had never done a goddamn tour in his life. The guy calls him for a year and finally gets the tour for no reason other than diligence. I cannot emphasize enough diligence and finding and having that list available to yourselves. That list for a $200,000 to $300,000 filmmaker is a Bible. And it's your job to keep that list. And you can be as sarcastic and you can be as jaded as you want in this room. But I guarantee you, you don't have that list, you'll never make the movie. You've got to get little bits of money in that movie. You have to be able to tell other investors, look, I've already got $50,000. We're just looking for another 150. Can you come in for 50? People love to come in after somebody else is committed. So your job is to have one guy that gives you some money. That money can be conditioned on full funding of your film. But once you have one set of dollars, you have credibility. And none of you have any credibility as filmmakers yet. So you absolutely need that first guy. And when you have that first guy, you need to market yourself to this list on a regular basis. And what that list is, if they won't invest in you, you got to find people they know that will invest in you. This is your job as a filmmaker of $300,000 movies. It's unfortunate, but you're a beggar. If you think of yourself as a beggar, it's a good way to think of yourself. You're begging for people to take a chance on you. And by the way, if you've been in another business and you have another career and you've decided you want to be in the film industry, I think that's great, goddamn great. So you better make a list of everyone you know in your business and start getting them to invest in this little film. Because those people, they already have a business relationship with you. At least there's familiarity there. They know you're not going to run away to Istanbul with it. So that's important, trust.